Hi, nice to almost see you. This might fall down at some point, so if it makes weird rustly paper noises or falls mid demo, I apologize. I have a folder clipped around my neck that's currently holding up the phone because I don't normally film at home, so I don't have a setup. So hopefully this will stay long enough to demonstrate. Okay, so I think based on what you said, instead of hand yoga, I have a different thing that I like to do for that. So maybe I'll start with that. Hopefully this is visible. It's kind of a weird angle, so I can't fully tell, but okay. So what I like to do is I'll start here. Can you see this? Right here inside of the pad of the thumb there. There it is. So right in here, when the thumb bends and curves around here, there's like a little spot that feels taller before it goes down here. So if you push your finger there for a moment, and then on the other side, press a bit, not to hurt, but you should feel kind of a weird sensation that if you push harder could hurt. And then I like to keep a bit of pressure there, nothing painful, just a bit, enough to help me become aware of moving the muscle around that area. So then I start rotating my thumb just a little bit. So it's kind of, this thumb is rotating over the thumb that goes in this area, like this. I know this seems really weird, but what this does is if you have that right spot right at the edge of the bump, it creates a sort of channel for the reflected pain that connects through the front of the hand, the outside part, out to here, and then also like right, it starts going up here. So I just do this, I push on that spot, right? If you imagine a drawn line here, it's kind of hard to demonstrate far away and not being able to see my video, but hopefully this is showing. If you drew a straight line here, and then a straight line here, kind of outlining that pad of the thumb, like as if it were a rectangle thing, like that, at the corner of them, that's where you're gonna push from both sides. And then you start doing these small rotations, and you try to make the rotations of the thumb. If you can bend the thumb comfortably backwards like that, do so. If you can't, it's okay. You don't have to do that. It's just more effective if you bend it a bit more. And try to make the rotations as small as humanly possible so that you just kind of feel like this point is giving a massage to your thumb almost. That's pressing on it. So the goal is really tiny movements, and you'll know you're doing it right when you start to feel a little bit of kind of, oh gosh, this is hard with synesthesia because I don't know what the normal words are. You'll feel something like a channel kind of opening down to the pinky when you're doing the right spot. So play around until you can find that spot, and then do some small rotations like this. And once you can kind of build up a tingly feeling that goes down to the pinky, you might also notice it kind of spreading up here afterwards a little bit. And once it does, then you can stop doing those small thumb rotations. And I like to just trace that line right up here. And I know this isn't related to the area of the pain exactly, but it does all connect at the end. So I trace it from here up between the fingers, and then I'll do the same thing, pinching here. I hope this shows. And then just rotating very lightly, because this will hurt if you push too hard. Just rotating this one a tiny bit, and then a little bit lower on that pad and a little bit lower. So I'm moving my thumb kind of around this and doing tiny finger rotations on each of those. And that you should also feel it in your pinky and a bit up here. And then after that, I go a bit further up on the thumb pad area. From the front, it's here. So I'll push here, and then I'll just stretch all the fingers apart like I'm trying to play an octave. And I'll do that for as long as it feels pretty good. And then you might notice after doing this a bit, if you pinch harder, you start feeling it here, coming up to this part of the arm. And once you start doing that, just stretching the fingers wide like you're doing an octave, and then relaxing and stretching and relaxing. Then if you flip over your arm and look, I hope this shows here, right by this bone. If you push in there for a moment until you feel that pinky again. And I know this is supposed to be related to the thumb, and it will be, but first I like to create the channel for the pain to flow out. So I push here till I feel it in the pinky, and then a bit up towards the bone, a bit up, and then I go here. How do I get this on camera? 1 second. Closer to the elbow. That's not showing. 1 second. Okay, I think you can see my arm. So if you imagine this line from the pinky along the edge, like you're tracing an outline, up to here before the elbow on the arm, if you push in and really, I hope that shows, I'm pushing in right here on the muscle and squeezing from the other side to give it pressure. And then I'm gonna hold this pinch for a moment, and then I'll do the hand yoga part that will relieve the thumb. So now I'm still pinching up there, going back down to the hand. If you can see, it's flat right now, like I'm holding a serving tray. And then I will bend it back and stretch like a reverse octave, as if I'm trying to play an octave upside down. Is that showing? Here, I'll just move my arm like this. Does that show that I'm trying to upside down play an octave? So instead of that, like this. Okay, so pressing on that spot up at the top, I do this. And I do whatever amount feels good. But I try to make sure that the inside thumb is also pressing. So I'm pressing up here and down here. Sorry, I know it's hard to see the location. You'll kind of feel that you're in the right spot because, again, everything goes to that pinky when you do it in the right press. So then this, like stretching the arm, reverse octave with the hand and relaxing up and curl. And then I do it like this and curl and like that and curl. And then it creates like a weird little tingle on the bottom of the wrist. And once that's happening, then I flip it and I find the spot here and I kind of spider walk, little massage up here till I get between these two bones. And when I push here and I really feel that pinky, kind of at the base of the pinky, I push there for a few seconds, like 1, 2, 3. And then I go to the spot that I felt it in, which is kind of the base of the pinky joint here. I press there for a minute, and then I walk down this muscle of the hand to here. And then you might feel something kind of reflecting up here usually. I'll do a little push there, and then I go back to that first spot on the thumb, and now it feels different from the first time. It has more like points. You can feel little dots inside of it where, oh, this is tricky with the synesthesia. I don't know what people feel. We'll just keep pressing that first spot on the thumb. And then again, you're gonna do this, the rotations of the thumb very, very slightly. And it might hurt a little bit. And if it does, don't push so hard. So do these tiny rotations with the thumb, like maybe 10 or so of them. And then continuing to push there, I lay the hand flat, keeping pressure on that point, and I reverse the fingers up and then down a bunch of times. And it creates a sort of tension here. And then I curl up the hand and reverse it. And usually after I've done that, there's a little bit of cracking because I'm a crackly piece of popcorn. Then if I just go up and massage from the elbow down on both sides, way back down here, and then on the other side of the pad here, and back up to the elbow. And then I push down the middle and stretch the hand as far apart as I can possibly get my fingers. And then relax. and then make a tight clenched ball and stretch it really far, and then relax, and then just roll it out. A lot of times by now the pain is either gone or much more distributed, so I don't really notice it anymore. And the other arm will want the same treatment. I hope that helps. I know it's not exactly the hand yoga, but for the thing you described, that's what I usually do, so I feel like that's probably more relevant. If this doesn't work, I apologize. I know with synesthesia things are kind of wonky for me sometimes, so it might not always apply to everyone, but my students used to do all of the little things, and I know it helped for drawing, so I hope it's relevant for the gardening stuff. Okay, I hope you have a gorgeous evening, and I hope that the pain recedes. And don't forget the other hand, because